So according to this new report, Elon Musk fired a top Twitter engineer for telling him some dirty truths, I suppose, things he didn't really want to hear. This is about his lack of Twitter engagement on his tweets, despite the fact he has all of these millions of followers. Here's the details from Zoe Schiffer and Casey Newton, who were involved in this. For weeks now, Elon Musk has been preoccupied with worries about how many people are seeing his tweets. Last week, the Twitter CEO took his Twitter account private for a day to test whether that might boost the size of his audience. I'm gonna say it again, the Twitter CEO needed to test Twitter because he doesn't know what's going on there because he knows everything until he doesn't know anything. Anyway, he decided to ask some questions because on Tuesday, he assembled several employees to ask them why his engagement numbers were down. This is ridiculous, is what Musk said, according to multiple sources with direct knowledge of that meeting. I have more than 100 million followers, and I'm only getting tens of thousands of impressions. One of the company's two remaining principal engineers offered a possible explanation for his declining reach. Just under a year after the Tesla CEO made his surprise offer to buy Twitter for $44 billion, public interest in his antics is waning. I'm not sure if they use those words, but that's definitely the truth, because check out this chart here, because at one point he was peaking and he was quite happy. He's like, $44 billion, well spent, thank you very much. But then he wasn't anticipating the rest of this, which seemed to be kind of low. They must be shadow banning him, and that CEO of Twitter needs to, I guess, pay up. He's the guy. There's more though. After hearing this is what he told his employee. He says, you're fired, you're fired. That's what he told the engineers.
Sounds
if there
like
was
someone
two of
we
them
know, huh?
sitting there. And that's definitely, I think, his approach. He probably sat back in his chair and said, yes, good job, Elon.
Another
good
baby,
job.
right? This is just straight out of my wheelhouse. I mean, Casey Newton's one of the better journalists studying social media corporations and the abuses that some of them have laid out. Elon Musk for many years has been a union buster and has been completely against labor. When he took over Twitter, it was sort of a fix and a fetish for him because he gets off on popularity and being some sort of public hero / anti-hero kind of scoundrel, right? And Twitter's algorithms tend to boast content that will arouse or outrage people, which is true across the board. Most of Facebook and Instagram and TikTok's algorithms do the same. But I think at a certain point, we're all sick and tired of this, right? And as perhaps I hope we're sick and tired of the former president as well. Enough is enough. And if you actually look at what Musk has done since he's taken over Twitter, and I've been looking at your coverage here on the Young Turks on this, it's immediately fired quite a few people, which is true across the board with technology companies. Took out the most important people who would have been working for Twitter, who should be living wage paid journalists, which would be content moderators. Those are the people who actually clean up our feeds to ensure that we're not just constantly pumped with hateful, racist, xenophobic, misogynist, etc., transphobic, queerphobic, etc. content. So he said, we're getting rid of those. And here's the other thing. He said that he would make these algorithms open source so at least the geeky, wider community could weigh in and look at what are some of the biases associated with that. We're not seeing much of that either. So, across the board, we know that Twitter has only 440 million global users, but it has profound effects on journalism because many of us journalists, and I'm sort of a hybrid scholar journalist in my way, we get our stories using Twitter. So it can, even though it has only around less than 500 million users, it influences journalists and journalism and their selection of stories. So, Musk kind of got off on this, I'm the man, I'm in charge of what he called the world's public sphere, but it's essentially been a disaster. Advertisers are flocking away from Twitter. He used his Tesla money to buy Twitter. Now that's not going well. Tesla stock is also tanking. Maybe we've all had enough, and maybe advertisers, users, laborers, they've all had enough of this. And so you can see what a profound lack of leadership we see in relation to Mr. Musk.
AB, it's becoming more and more clear that the reasons he wanted to do this was for engagement, and it's down.
Yeah, I mean, he caught the social media bug as an influencer. I know how it is. I've seen it so many times, right? People catch the bug. And then when you start seeing your engagement go down, all of a sudden your true colors and the type of person you are comes out, right? So he definitely did this for the popularity. And he was the man of the hour, but his 15 minutes are up. And I think it goes to show that at the end of the day, nobody really cared about what he had to say. Everyone was involved in the antics and trying to figure out what was next with Twitter, because a lot of people use Twitter for actual reasonable purposes, right? As mentioned earlier, for journalism and to share thoughts and things like that. So now that opportunity has pretty much been stripped from the average user, unless you pay for Twitter Blue, people don't have a reason to be over there kicking it the same way. So sorry, Elon.
And
find something else to do.
Kind of goes through the same things over and over again. She's looking to shock, and people are like, okay, I've been shocked enough. I understand what you're trying to do here. By the way, before we jump out of here, Ramesh, you pointed out how he went on a firing spree from the beginning. This is the details of one particular employee says what it looks like because of that. Because maybe people think he fired all these people and it's great. So you guys were crazy about this. This is what this one employee said. We haven't seen much in the way of longer term cogent strategy. Most of our team is dedicated to 3 main areas: putting out fires, mostly caused by firing the wrong people and trying to recover from that, performing impossible tasks, and improving efficiency, quote unquote, without clear guidelines of what the expected end results are. We mostly move from dumpster fire to dumpster fire.
That's extremely telling, actually, because there tends to be a focus amongst many technologists who we know are not just about technology, right? Technology mediates almost everything in our lives these days, right? Data and algorithms and so on. There's an obsession with efficiency. There's certain kind of buzzwords that people don't actually unpack in the tech world: efficiency, innovation, disruption. Those are 3 of them. So what do you mean by efficiency? A particular type of efficiency could actually generate mass inefficiencies, right? If your efficiency is to rile people up, you will then create the inefficiencies of a society that goes crazy, right? So, this is typical tech speak, which is a very flattened vision of a social reality, and let alone any understanding of it at all.
Spoken like a true professor.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.